Welcome to Cooking Today. We're delighted to be back in Lisa French's home again. Lisa, we've had so many calls since our last program.
I'm glad to hear it.
Well, now let's see. Here, Sally from Manchester is getting married in June and has always dreamt of having a well-equipped modern kitchen just like the ones in the movies. How can we help her?
Well, to begin with, a kitchen environment should be well lit and have ample surfaces to work on. Also, plenty of drawer space is necessary for storage of food items and utensils.
I know what you mean. I have to contend with a small kitchen that has neither light nor enough drawer space. That's why I go out to restaurants.
You don't need a king-size kitchen to enjoy cooking in it. What's important is organisation and having things at hand.
What are the main appliances newlyweds should have?
Well, obviously, a hob, an oven, and a fridge are absolutely essential. Today, many people can't survive without a dishwasher.
I'm one of those people. I really hate doing dishes.
So do I. Getting back to the subject, I'd like to show our viewers some optional appliances. Although they're not strictly necessary, they often come in handy in large families or when entertaining guests frequently. One is the grill. Another is a deep fryer for large quantities of chips and other tidbits.
That's not the appliance for me. I love healthy cooking.
In that case, you need a steamer oven like this one. In the US, it's hard to find a kitchen without a microwave. Microwaves are quite useful, especially for busy people. Other appliances, which are also common in the US, are water and ice dispensers, like this one.
Well, everybody seems to have a food processor these days. Why is a food processor so useful?
Well, a food processor is a great boon since it's a real space and time saver. It has many different functions. It can mince meat, grate cheese and vegetables, make breadcrumbs, pulp tomatoes, fruit, and so on.
So what else can you show us?
An electric beater like this can be used for whisking eggs, as well as making mayonnaise. Other kitchen aids are scales and measuring utensils. Careful weighing and measuring are fundamental for successful cooking, since recipes are generally in kilos and grams.
All right. There are a lot of other things that we could talk about, but unfortunately our time is up. Lisa, once again, it's been great being here. Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
Well, let's analyze some of the vocabulary used by Lisa. Talking about the appliances for cooking, she spoke about a hob, or U.S. stove, where you cook food, an oven, where you roast or bake food, a grill, where food is cooked by strong direct heat. As we saw, the following machines can be optional: a deep fryer in which you fry food, a steamer oven, where you can cook food in steam rather than water, a microwave, where food is cooked by electromagnetic radiation. Then she referred to items where food can be stored, like a fridge, originally refrigerator. The section with frozen food is called a freezer. The section of the fridge which produces cold water and ice is called a water or ice dispenser. Lisa also said drawers are important. You need them to keep utensils, cutlery, and so on. A dishwasher is a machine for washing dishes, cutlery, glasses, and so on. Other small appliances are a food processor, a machine which can ground, mince, or chop food, an electric beater where you mix, whip, or whisk food, scales or measuring utensils used for measuring food, weight, or liquids. Then Lisa used some culinary terms, such as mince, that is chopping meat into very small pieces. Notice that mincemeat is a mixture of dried fruit. Cheese and carrots can be grated, that is, finely shredded. Or we can say pulp, which means crushing fruit into a soft paste. Pulp is also the soft inner part of fruit. Another useful verb is beat. That is mixing eggs, cream, butter, using a fork or a whisk. That's enough for today. See you again. Bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk, the evening discussion show with our two commentators, Tom and Marie.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Well, let's talk business tonight. Let's talk about some important developments in the global economy. Let's talk about new markets and new commercial opportunities. In particular, I'd like to know what you think about the extraordinary economic growth that's taking place at the moment in some parts of the world.
Are you referring to China?
Yes, and also to India. You know, for the last 5 years, the economies of these countries have been growing at almost double-digit rates. In 2005, the Chinese economy grew by 9.9%, the Indian economy by 8%. Compare this with an average of only 1.3% in Europe's Eurozone. How do you see these developments? Is this enormous economic growth an opportunity or a threat for European producers?
Well, I'm rather concerned about it, and I believe that many European industrialists are concerned too. These two Asian giants with their enormous populations are threatening European manufacturing and jobs. The fact is that labor costs are so low in China and India that European manufacturers just can't compete.
Sorry, Tom, but I really don't agree with you. I don't see these growing economies as a threat to European producers. I believe that China and India offer new, important markets to European manufacturers. You know, both countries have middle classes that are becoming larger and larger. These people are becoming wealthier and are looking to spend their money on luxury goods made in Europe.
So, Maria, according to you, European companies can sell their high-quality goods to middle-class Indians and Chinese.
Exactly. In this way, European exports to China and India are predicted to increase.
Just a second, Marie. The reality of the situation is rather different. India and China are selling much more to Europe than Europe is selling to them.
I accept that's true at the moment. But don't forget, Tom, that cheap Chinese goods have helped to keep inflation low in European countries. And this has helped keep interest rates low too. So, consumers have been able to save money and spend this money on other things.
Well, I agree with you that European consumers and industrialists have benefited from trade with China.
Of course. What's more, today, more and more European companies are building factories in China or are having their goods produced there.
Exactly. That's the problem, Marie. European industrialists are deciding to have their goods produced in these countries because labour costs are lower. If we continue like this, lots of factories in Europe will close and the number of unemployed will rise.
Well, I can certainly see that you have different opinions on these issues. I think you're both right. Like most things in life, economic growth in China and India has its good and bad points. It can either offer commercial opportunities to some European producers, but it can also pose a threat to other sectors of European manufacturing. Okay, let's say goodbye to Tom and Marie.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye to everyone, and see you again for another appointment of Let's Talk. So, we've just spoken about developments in the global economy. The global economy is the economic system of the world. An important development is the economic growth in China and India. Economic growth is the development of an economy. The Indian economy grows by 8%. Notice the use of by. The Chinese economy grew by 9.9%. Here, notice also how we say 9.9. Is this economic growth threatening to European producers? A threat is a danger, and the verb to threaten means to put in danger. One opinion is that the economic growth of India and China is threatening European producers. Producers are companies that make products. Another word for producer is manufacturer. Why is it a threat? Because there are low labor costs in India and China. Labor costs are how much a company pays its workers to produce something. The number of unemployed will increase in Europe. This is the number of people without a job. We say someone is unemployed when they don't have a job. Another opinion is that it isn't a threat. Actually, it's creating new commercial opportunities for European manufacturers. New commercial opportunities are new markets for products or the chance to sell more to existing markets. Just quickly, before we run out of time, there are a few useful expressions for discussions I'd like to look at. A polite way of asking someone's opinion is, I'd like to know what you think about. When you strongly disagree with someone, you can say, sorry, but I really don't agree with you, or just a second. But if, on the other hand, you agree, you can say, I accept that's true, or I agree with that. Well, that's all the time we have for this time. See you soon.
Now let's watch the whole episode together. Watch the subtitles carefully, because the language points that we studied together are highlighted. All right? Enjoy your viewing. Hello and welcome back to English Today. This is DVD 13 and the first DVD of your upper intermediate level. And in this DVD, we'll begin with another 3 episodes of our story, That's Life, followed by our special TV programs, which include Everything But the Kitchen Sink, featuring our culinary experts. And then there will be a discussion about India and China. Do they represent a threat or an opportunity? Then, in the grammar section, we'll be studying more about the present perfect and the present perfect continuous tenses. And then we'll learn about the gerund and the infinitive. And we'll also study the first conditional. All right? So, I hope you enjoy yourselves. Hi there, and how are you? Now remember last lesson, we studied when we use the present perfect. And I introduced you to Genie, which represents the time words that we use with the present perfect. Just, ever, already, never, yet, for unspecified time. Well, in this lesson, we're going to learn 2 more very important time words that we use with the present perfect. But first, let's go back to our friends. They're using the present perfect a lot in this episode, and we're going to hear Sharon and Peter talking together. They're having to make an important decision. To go to Japan or not. Peter definitely wants to go. And Sharon? Let's hear.
Sharon, I called a real estate agent 5 minutes ago. He deals with apartments in Japan. He said he'd send an email with some photos. That way we can choose which apartment we like the best.
Don't rush me, Peter. You know I haven't decided.
I know. We've talked about this a lot. But doesn't the idea of leaving appeal to you? I mean, just think of it. A new country. A new life together. New experiences. You know, I'm really enthusiastic about this opportunity. It's not every day you have a chance like this.
Well, I've wanted to make changes in my life for a long time. But these changes seem so, well, so overwhelming. There, I said it. I've never been to Asia, and I'm frightened of going there to live.
But I told you that Alice has